I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to another edition of the Douglas Ducote Show. You had many places to be tonight, but chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Tonight's lead story, I told you right here on this show, just a few weeks ago, actually. The Democrats, the Department of Justice, the FBI, all three of them working together, they will do everything in their power to arrest Donald J. Trump before the presidential election. Because, let's face it, it is their last chance, their last Hail Mary to stop him from becoming the next president of the United States. I told you that they will continue to bring up more, quote, trumped up charges against Donald Trump, knowing damn well that there's no merit behind them, but they don't care. Just in hopes that something sticks. I told you many, many, many times that here in America, sadly, we're faced with a two-tier justice system, one for Republicans and one for Democrats. And here's more proof. Legal experts and conservative political pundits erupted today after former President Donald Trump claimed he received a letter informing him that he is a target of the Justice Department's investigation into the January 6 riots. That is correct. Trump announced today that he received a letter letting him know that they will soon be indicting him on the January 6 riots. Trump posted on Truth Social, his platform, this morning that he expects to face both an arrest and an indictment after a letter from special counsel Jack Smith told the Republican he is a target of the January 6 grand jury investigation. The letter gave Trump 4 days to report to the grand jury. The former president claimed Jack Smith sending President Trump a target letter and then indicating he has to appear in front of a grand jury makes no sense. Brett Tolman, a former U.S. attorney and executive director of Right on Crime, posted on Twitter. Rarely do you put a target in front of the grand jury. They will plead the fifth, and you run the risk of compromising your case, giving due process. But they don't care. They know that they have no merit. They know that it won't stand. They don't care. They're going to throw everything they can at him until the day of the election in hopes that something, somehow, will stick and they can put him in handcuffs. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton tweeted, having witnessed firsthand their abuse of power, no surprise these partisans now want to arrest Trump on political charges. This is a dire threat to the rule of law. Radio host and author Mark Levin wrote on Twitter, conservatives and Republicans everywhere should be furious with the son of a bitch rogue Biden prosecutor, the AG who's approving this farce, and the undeniable Department of Justice FBI campaign to destroy Trump and reelect Joe Biden. Julie Kelly, author and senior contributor to American Greatness, posted that it is possible Trump will be charged with seditionist conspiracy for January 6. Federalist CEO Sean Davis tweeted, referencing the Department of Justice investigation to Hunter Biden, kind of crazy to think that he had illegally brought a gun, lied on the background check, laundered money, evaded taxes, accepted bribes from foreign countries, and smuggled cocaine into the White House. The Department of Justice looked the other way. Yet Trump told people to protest peacefully, and now they're going to charge him. The continued politicization and weaponization of the Department of Justice has turned our institutions into enforcers for the Biden administration's partisan priorities. Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz posted, "It remains deeply harmful to the rule of law." In his post, Trump wrote that they have now effectively indicted me 3 times, with a probable 4th coming from Atlanta, and added in capital letters, "This witch hunt is all about election interference and a complete and total politicalization, weaponization of our law enforcement." Yes, sir, it is. A government source with direct knowledge of the situation tells Fox News that Smith's office did indeed send Trump a targeted letter. Trump is already facing 34 felony charges in New York City relating to an indictment alleging the falsification of business records and federal charges relating to his handling of classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate. Let it be known that Biden has done the same thing. He's got documents they found all over the goddamn place. They found them in his offices. They found them in both of his homes. They found them in his garage, and they've done nothing about it. He has pleaded not guilty in both cases. Prosecutors in Georgia are conducting a separate investigation into efforts by Trump to reverse the election results in that state, with the top prosecutor in Fulton County signaling that he expects to announce charging decisions next month. And the hits just keep on coming because they've got nothing else. They literally have nothing else. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy today played a video for House Republicans that shows President Biden denying any wrongdoing related to his family's business dealings, one day before a whistleblower is expected to tell Congress that the investigation into Hunter Biden was politicized. And that witness goes in front of the House hearing committee tomorrow. The video shows a timeline of Biden defending his family actions, but it ends with IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley claiming the IRS probe he was part of was prevented from taking steps that could have led to the U.S. President, Joe Biden. Shapley and one other whistleblower expected to claim tomorrow at the House Oversight and Accountability Committee that the Justice Department's interference in the IRS investigation of Hunter Biden and his business dealings is corrupt and took place. The hearing is a combination of linked probes by Oversight as well as the House Judiciary and Ways and Means Committee into both Hunter Biden and the president's brother, James Biden. This video is what the speaker has used to educate the broader House Republican conference on the status of the Biden family investigation. It signals the important House GOP leaders are placing on the Biden investigation, which has been a top priority of Republicans since taking the House majority last year. It also serves as a unifying issue for what is proven to be an ideology-fractured conference. McCarthy's video and Wednesday's hearing come as the speaker is faced with fierce spending battle on defense and other annual appropriations, as a narrow, divided House has given a small fraction of hardline conservatives greater influence over legislation. But nearly all House Republicans have been united in their suspicious of wrongdoing by the President Biden's family and himself. Hunter Biden reached a deal with the U.S. Attorney in Delaware last month to plead guilty to misdemeanor tax charges and one felony account related to firearms possession after a years-long probe into his foreign business dealings, including in Ukraine and China. The 2-minute video shows privately to lawmakers today, features various news clips dating back to 2020 presidential debates. Biden is shown saying nothing was unethical about his son's foreign work, which is followed by a clip of a news anchor revealing James and Hunter Biden were under investigation. The Biden is shown outside the White House telling reporters it's not true that Hunter Biden's foreign associates wired over $1 million to 3 of the president's relatives. McCarthy completion also notes reporting that states U.S. banks flagged concerns over 150 transactions linked to Hunter and James Biden. In a White House statement that called the pair dealings a private matter. Biden himself swore multiple times that he was not involved in his family's foreign business links. 14-year IRS veteran Shapley alleged to the Ways and Means Committee that the Hunter Biden probe he was formerly part of in Delaware was stymied by the Justice Department. He said efforts by Trump-appointed U.S. Attorney David Weiss to get special counsel status was rebuffed, and that Weiss was denied the ability to bring charges in other districts, something that would directly contradict claims of Weiss's independence made by Attorney General Merrick Garland. So we've got whistleblowers from all over the damn place, from the FBI, from the Department of Justice, telling us about the corruption of Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and the Biden criminal family. But until the FBI and the Department of Justice throw this two-tier justice system out the fucking window and actually investigate these claims and do something about it, it's just a waste of time. Nothing's going to get done. American Military News posted an explosive piece on Biden today. They say new evidence reportedly accused President Joe Biden of using a secret global phone to communicate with foreign business leaders during his time as vice president, so that it couldn't be traced back to him. During an appearance on Sunday Morning Futures with Marie Bartiromo, Peter Schwartz, author of Secret Empires, discussed Biden's alleged communication line. What is the line of communication between Hunter Biden and his business partners and Joe Biden when he's vice president of the United States? It's not the government phone. It's not Joe Biden's personal phone. We know from the laptop that Hunter Biden's business paid for a private phone line that Joe Biden used while he was vice president, he said. Schwarzer explained that the alleged personal phone was an AT&T phone. It cost $300 per month, and it was also a global phone capable of contacting anyone, anywhere around the world. Schwartz added that the account information and phone number were shared by members of the House Oversight Committee. My hope is that if they haven't already, that they will subpoena those records, because I think it will give an indication of how tight the communication was. And that may be the phone, for example, that the Burisma executives might have used in his allegation that he talked to Joe Biden in recorded conversations. Schwartz also addressed a recent report that Henry Zal, chairman of the Harvest Fund Management and a Communist Party official, had already sent $5 million to the Biden family. Schwartz said in a later phone call conversation, correspondence between Hunter Biden and Zal mentions another deal that is important to the Biden family, and that involved Joe Biden. According to Schwartz, while the House Oversight Committee has concentrated on the criminal elements of the Joe Biden's alleged involvement with Hunter Biden's business dealing, it is also important for them to address the espionage element of the evidence. Henry Zal paid $5 million to Hunter Biden for an account that was part of a company that he co-owned with the family of the Minister of State Security of China, who's in charge of the entire spy apparatus, he said. You see that every deal that Hunter Biden did in China, these individuals that are sending him money have ties to the Chinese intelligence. According to the Gateway Pundit, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer implicated 9 members of the Biden family in corruption as part of the investigation into the business dealings of the Bidens. Comer has accused the Biden family of receiving more than $10 million from foreign nationals during Biden's time as vice president under President Barack Obama. The committee is concerned by the complicated, suspicious network of over 20 companies we have identified the Bidens and their associates used to enrich themselves, he said. Most of these companies were limited liability companies formed during Joe Biden's vice presidency. So, like Hillary Clinton and her server in the basement for emails, the Bidens did everything in their power to also shield themselves. The money didn't go directly from China or from Ukraine into Biden's personal accounts. It went through many different businesses that were set up, many, according to the whistleblowers, until eventually landing at the Biden's feet. They also did numerous things to do away with conversations to where that couldn't be traced, such as what the whistleblower is saying now about this global phone that they were using. Liberal media hosts and commentators appear panicked over a potential no libels third-party ticket in 2024 and have criticized the efforts as disgenerous and the stupidest thing ever. No Labels, a centrist group who has taken steps towards potentially launching a third-party unity ticket, recently announced that Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat, would serve as an honorary co-host of the group's Common Sense Town Hall in New Hampshire. Democrats and members of the media have criticized their efforts because of Donald Trump, suggesting any candidate would be a spoiler for President Biden. CNN political commentator David Axelrod says no libels effort was disingenuous. Well, David, that's the story of your damn life, and your whole political career is disingenuous. It is as certain as anything in politics that no labels will be a spoiler and highly likely in favor of Trump and the Republicans, he wrote on Twitter. MSNBC's Joe Reed took issue with a statement by Joe Letterman, who said Democrats were overreaching to the effort by no labels and suggested Democrats work on bringing their platform more to the center. And yes, Democrats are just hysterical about the possibility of handing Trump a second term and potentially bringing the Democratic experiment to an end, she said. Lieberman is being disingenuous, though, when he says that Democrats need a platform more to the center. Even Joe Biden's bipartisan victories and his willingness to buck the more progressive wing of the party, which has earned him a significant amount of criticism from both the progressives, Reid added. She continued, political operatives have met to discuss how to best counter the run. Their diligence and democracy ending third party has become so terrifying, the top Democrat firm who worked with the group in the past now refuses to discuss their collaboration. MSNBC analyst and Mother Jones correspondent Dave Korn said the group had a distinct Republican tilt based on its donors. They're equating Joe Biden as extreme as Donald Trump, the guy who tried to overthrow the election and kind of overthrow the government, he continued. They say that Joe Biden is an extreme as Donald Trump, so right there's a complete dishonesty. And when they start hiding their success of money, they can only raise suspicions. Politico's Heidi Prezabel joined CNN's Dana Bash on Sunday to discuss the party's donors, as well as both suggested Republican donors were trying to make mischief through donating to no labels. Many Democrats are very skeptical of that, and they believe that if you pull back the curtain, Dana, what would you see? Here is a primary GOP donor who do not want the Bidens to stay in power. And I confirm in my reporting that one of those donors, at least in the past, a whale, meaning one of their big ones is Harlan Crow, who is the donor behind Clarence Thomas. If you look at where a lot of their activity has been, it's been down in Dallas. Fundraisers said they're planning to hold their convention. Host of MSNBC's Morning Joe also discussed the No Labels effort on Tuesday, and host Joe Scarborough asked Newsweek editor-at-large Tom Rogers how devastating a mansion run might be. I think absolutely devastating. There's just absolutely no evidence that a no-label ticket like that would be the total spoiler for Joe Biden or the Democrats. There just has not been, in 50 years, a single electoral vote that has been garnered by an independent candidate, even Ross Perot, who got 19% of the vote, he said. Scarborough predicted what it will do, and there is evidence of this, including 2016, with the independent vote siphoned from former Hillary Clinton and gave the election to Donald Trump in swing states, that there is just no way a third-party ticket that it's going to do anything but help Donald J. Trump. Yeehaw! Bring on that third-party ticket. On the issue of human life, there are two very opposing visions at work in our country. Through the vast network of pregnancy resource centers and maternity homes, the pro-life movement has exerted every effort to love, support, and protect women and children. Today, nearly half the nation protects life when babies in the womb have heartbeats or can feel excruciating pain of abortion. The outer vision, the pro-abortion vision, run by the abortion industry and activists, have set their extreme end goal of abortion on demand for any reason up until the moment of birth. When asked if they support any limit on abortion, they toe the party line of, I support whatever a woman or a doctor decides. That dodges a question, does not answer it in any way, and fails to disclose that a woman or her doctor can decide to terminate for any reason, including gender preferences. For instance, you get pregnant and then they find out when they do their ultrasound that it's a boy or it's a girl, and that's not what you wanted. You wanted a boy and you got a girl in your baby or in your body, or vice versa. So therefore you can terminate it if that's what you feel like doing. This vision allows women who prefer a baby boy to a baby girl to terminate the life of the child all the way up to 9 months just because they're the wrong sex from what they wanted. This dark vision means gruesome late-term abortions could become normalized procedures, and the trauma that they inflict on post-abortion aborted mothers would be downplayed or ignored. Survivors of botched abortions would be left to suffer their first and last minutes outside the womb along cold and excruciating pain, because pro-abortion radicals have fought against policies requiring that they afford basic medical care. In the abortion activist utopia, all pregnancy resource centers and maternity homes would be shuttered despite all the financial and physical resources they provide women and their kids. This is widely unpopular with the American people. This polling from this year shows 91% of Americans support them. They would even want to force pro-life or ambivalent Americans to shut and fund these procedures in their healthcare plans. What a horrifying dystopia vision, right? Tragically, the vision is already a reality in some places throughout the country. To date, 6 states, plus our nation's capital of Washington, D.C., allow abortion up until birth. The day before, the day of birth, after 9 months, you can make the decision, abort it. They pull out this live baby and kill it. 17 states do not offer protections for babies that can feel the pain or dismemberment abortions in the womb. But Democrats and abortion activists say these states don't go far enough to fight for even radical policies that don't serve women or save children. For example, in Maine, they're voting to pass a bill allowing abortion at any point up to birth. Supporters of the bill claim such late-term abortions would only be allowed if deemed necessary by a licensed physician. But anyone who has followed abortion policies throughout the past century knows that such loopholes have been exploited for pretty much any reason, including mental, emotional, even financial, and health. As that weren't enough, Maine's state Senate blocked a proposal amendment that would have put limits on the trafficking of fetal remains from late-term abortions. In Maryland this past year, an all-trimester abortion clinic opened. Democrat Senator Ben Cardin admitted that there isn't a single limit on abortion that he supports. It's up to the woman to make that decision, he said. And who could forget the jaw-dropping admission from former Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, who shamelessly voiced his support for infanticide on air. Norman's words rightly shocked Americans, many of whom thought they'd never lived to see an America where babies were killed after birth. But elective up-to-birth abortions are real. A shameless recent feature of the Atlantic glamorized and nauseating history of Colorado's late-term abortionist, Dr. Warren Hearn. Hearn, the article writes, has been performing late-term abortions for half a century. Disturbingly, Hearn shared that half, if not more, of the women who've come to his clinic do not have medical diagnosis for late-term abortions, but he performs abortions for them anyway. Hearn adopted one baby simply because her mother decided she didn't want to have a little girl. He said he'd done abortions for sex selection twice. The Atlantic piece read, it was their choice to make. Hearn, who refused to allow viability concerns to restrict his business, instead, he believes that the viability of the fetus is determined not by gestational age, but by a woman's willingness to carry it. Simply, in Washington, D.C., a total lack of limits on abortion leaves women and children exposed to dangerous horrors, like from late-term abortionists. And, you know, anyone, not so much Republicans or conservatives, but even if there are some of you out there that fall in line with this ideology that in America or anywhere on planet Earth for that matter, we should accept a woman's right to terminate the pregnancy up to the moment of birth, has a serious fucking mental flaw. You know, you can see right here on YouTube, I've watched them, it's pretty sickening, listening to the people that used to work for abortion clinics and believed all that crazy ideology until they witnessed it firsthand and witnessed blotched abortions and a live baby with all its arms, hands, its feet, legs, fully intact, nothing wrong with it, crying on a cold steel table. And then the doctor doing something to kill it because that's what the mother wanted. And they said that was enough to see that and witness that. As far as they were concerned, it's murder, because it is, because the baby was alive. How another human being can believe somehow in their mind that this is okay, I don't get. Personally, if a woman is raped, I do not believe she should have to carry a baby in her body, a reminder every second of every minute that she's awake that she was raped. I can't imagine what that would do to your mental psyche to go through something like that. But there are people in the hardcore right that believe it shouldn't matter. You still should have to carry it to full term. I believe that if the woman's life is in jeopardy and the doctors believe there is a good possibility she will die giving birth, then it should be her right to abort at that point. But there are those on the far right that believe it doesn't matter. The mother should just deal with it and take the consequences and die if need be for the baby to be born. There are many sides to this question. It is a debate that is very serious. It's emotional. I've known women that have had abortions. I've known women that have had abortions that didn't want to have an abortion, but due to circumstances that was happening with the baby or with themselves, that's what they had to do. I've known women that have carried the whole 9 months and given the child up for adoption. But we currently have members of the Democrat Party and the far left and the liberals of our society that believe when this baby is 6, 7, 8, 9 months and can live outside the body if removed, then it's okay to terminate, is sickening. I don't understand that. You know, I'm not a woman, but listen, if you feel so strongly about killing a baby, and that's what abortion is, then how about you close your damn legs? How about you get on birth control? How about you have, I don't know, the man wear a damn condom or two? How about you just stop having sex, for crying out loud? But that's not going to happen because that's not what you want. You want to be able to do whatever the fuck you want to do and not have to pay the consequences for your actions. You know, there used to be a time in society where the girl getting pregnant was actually a deterrent to having sex. But not anymore. Not with today's generation. Now it's something that's being pushed on the rest of us that we're supposed to just be okay with it. Like transsexuals, drag queens, story hours in our libraries and schools with men dressed up as, not just dressed up as women, but dressed up as freaks, circus clowns, for crying out loud. You've seen the pictures. And we're supposed to be just okay with it. Why is it that literally 1% of the population gets to control the other 99%? That's pretty damn screwed up. Speaking of, an 18-year-old female military recruit forced to shower with biological males as part of the Biden administration's transgender policy is complaining about being placed in an extremely uncomfortable position during basic training. The report was first raised at a Senate Armed Service Committee hearing that took place earlier today. The girl is afraid to speak out of fear it will harm her military career. Senator Mike Rounds told Fox News Digital in an interview Her options were slim and included resigning from her early career position. It was believed raising the matter in a complaint could have harmful impacts on the new recruit's military career. According to Rounds, the military recruit, 18, is complaining about being forced to sleep in between two individuals who were supposedly changed from male to female. The girl also has to shower with the individuals and reported significant distress about the matter. Individuals housed with the 18-year-old had indicated chemical interventions to change gender, but without having reassignment surgery. Their genitals were fully intact. Round said he heard about the matter from an attorney general in South Dakota National Guard. He had contacted our office very concerned about the information he had received from the recruit. The respect that this young recruit should have received and the privacy that she should have had, she is being deprived of. The Pentagon released a statement to Fox News Digital about this, which said Department of Defense policy is that all service members must be treated with dignity and respect. We encourage any troop who's feeling uncomfortable or has concerns about privacy and shared space to work through their chain of command. Commanders may employ reasonable accommodations to respect the privacy interests of service members. As for the girls' recourse for the discomforting living situation, the senator said her options were not good. She could have basically resigned or stepped away. She could have started over again. But nonetheless, it was an extremely uncomfortable position. And I think this is one of the reasons why we're not meeting our recruitment goals right now, he said. When asked whether other women in the military may be experiencing similar discomforting scenarios due to transgender policies in place, Senator Rounds pointed to the Biden administration's failure to meet recruitment goals. The recruitment crisis is partially due to Biden's woke agenda, and we now see coming from the executive order. This seems to be a direct correlation between the President of the United States issue, the executive order making these changes, and directing the Department of Defense to integrate individuals who are transgender and how they should be perceived within the military. Most of the focus of the Biden administration is on the transgender individuals, not the individuals who are working with them. President Biden reversed the Trump-era ban on transgender people serving the military when he first took office. The Biden administration at the time stressed that the United States military thrives when it is comprised of diverse Americans who can meet the rigorous standards of military service, and added that an inclusive military strengthens our national security. President Biden believes that gender identity should not be a bar to military service, and that American strength is found in its diversity. This question of how to enable and all qualified Americans to serve in the military is easily answered by recognizing our core values. Under the definition that Biden's Department of Defense was using of a woman versus housing, etc., gender individuals may be housed in female facilities even without genital surgery. There are growing concerns about the U.S. military falling behind its recruitment goals. This year, the Army is expected to end up 15,000 recruits short of its 65,000 goal. U.S. military chiefs continue to express concern that if recruiting numbers don't improve, the U.S. will not be able to face the next great power threat or deal with two conflicts at the same time, such as Russia and China. As for the next steps, Rounds will be speaking with the nominee to replace Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Miley. His name is Charles Q. Brown. I talked to General Brown. It was the first time that he had heard of the incident as well. He said, "I've already received a phone call from General Brown. He wants to discuss the specifics of this case. He wants more information." And I will take this call the next week with him, and we'll see what direction he is recommending. Should he be confirmed as the Chief of Staff of the Department of Defense. I don't know. There was a time when, not too long ago, there was the whole don't ask, don't tell policy. And a lot of people in the military did not want gay people to be able to serve. For basically the purposes of thinking that they're going to be checking them out in the shower or in their sleeping quarters, what have you, because they like the same sex. That turned out to be, in reality, not the case at all. Gay people, gay men, lesbians, they're with their own, yes, but they don't go after straight people. It's like straight people don't go looking for gay people. And it was tossed around in the military for a long time. Some presidents say it was okay. Some presidents come along and say it isn't. Don't ask, don't tell what's going on. Eventually, they came to the conclusion that, look, just because you're gay doesn't mean you can't serve in the military and do one hell of an outstanding job right alongside everybody else. And so, there's been gay people serving in the military since its inception, for crying out loud. But this new thing that's happening has really upset a lot of different people. Not only the recruits themselves, but their parents, for crying out loud. When a man claims to be a woman, yet hasn't had their stuff removed, our military allowing them to go in and serve as a woman when they're a biological male. That's something totally different, folks, from gay people. That's like apple and oranges. It's so far to the different spectrum that it's ridiculous. I firmly have nothing at all against gay people serving in the military. I served with many gay people in the military. They did a wonderful job. What they did when they went home behind closed doors wasn't part of me. It didn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. But when you have a person that's biologically born one way, pretending to be something else or wanting to be something else, whether it's a medical condition or not, all right, just the fact that they still have the same sex organs, there's a lot of people who have a problem with this. A lot. And it is a problem. Just like this drag queen stuff has become a problem. And our military is trying to find a way, it's so freaking woke now, to accept everybody that the majority of the males and females that are straight and or gay don't want to serve because they see the absolute batshit crazy things that are taking place with this new military. And look, it's even got Peanut pissed off. He's upset about it. I'm sorry, Peanut, that you're very upset about this. So, it's what's the answer to this? As far as I'm concerned, the answer is transgender people have no place in the United States military. They just don't. I'm sorry. Now, if you've had a complete sex change done and you no longer have male genitals, I think then there should be an exception. But when the female recruits go to the shower and there's a guy standing there with his dick out, that's not right. They should not have to be forced to shower with that person. or share a tent with that person, or share barracks with that person. It's wrong. Now, if you can set up something where they shower differently and they're housed differently, I'd probably be okay with that. I don't know. Have to show me the plan. But right now, there is no plan. Right now, it's just lump everybody together and everybody deal with it. Everybody be happy and everybody sing kumbaya and look the other way. You don't like looking at what's swinging from the legs of the person next to you, just don't look at it. And that's not the way this is supposed to work. Moving on. Proof of extraterrestrial life has been discovered at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, according to Harvard University astrophysics. During a 2-week voyage to Papua New Guinea, a crew led by Harvard University astrophysics Avin Loeb recovered dozens of fragments from an unusual meteorite crash from the Pacific Ocean back in 2014. The fragments, described as spears, are made up of metallic substances that does not exist in our solar system to our knowledge. Last year, U.S. Space Command confirmed the extraterrestrial object dubbed interstellar meteor IM-1 was originally from a different solar system. Their discovery opens a new frontier in astronomy, where what lay outside of our solar system is studied through a microscope rather than a telescope, said Loeb, according to USA Today. It's unclear whether the spears are natural or technology type. Additional testing is being conducted to determine the fragment's makeup. Loeb said the meteor was roughly the size of a basketball when it entered the Earth's atmosphere. While the meteor was too small to be detected by telescopes, its crash into the Western Pacific created a bright fireball that was caught on U.S. government sensors, he added, which is how they were allowed to find out where it went in the water at. During the $1.5 million expedition, Loeb's crew examined more than 108 miles of the ocean floor, combing it with magnets to recover these spears. These spears, which appear to be beautiful metallic marbles, were concentrated along the expected path of the IM-1, about 85 kilometers off the coast of Manus Island in Papua New Guinea. Loeb wrote an article published on Medium.com that 83% of the matter in this universe is apparently composed of dark matter, which was not found yet in the solar system, should teach us modesty in forecasting the nature of interstellar objects. And if you haven't seen these spears yet, check it out. You can see it right here on YouTube. That's, there's pictures of it. There's videos of it. They're perfectly round. They can't figure out what it's made out of. It's not made out of something that we know about, a metal on this earth. So where did it come from? Didn't come from Earth. Let's put it that way. Just how bad is the war on cops by the far left and Democrats becoming? Well, LA police union boss tells cops to leave the city. Go somewhere that understands your worth. As the Los Angeles Police Department has lost over 1,000 officers since just 2019. The vice president of the Los Angeles Police Union encouraged officers to ditch the city and find work elsewhere during unsuccessful salary negotiations with the city. Los Angeles Police Protective League Vice President Jarrett Sandoz made the statement in a comment from her personal Facebook page as the negotiations are being handled in late June. Santos wrote in the now deleted statement that the LA City Council was stacked against police. Go somewhere that respects the work you do, and you don't have to beg for a great contract, she wrote, according to a screenshot of the comment posted last month and now obtained by Los Angeles Times. Go somewhere that has a city council or city manager should openly acknowledge the great work that you do. Go somewhere that doesn't have 2 or more city council members who hate you. The LAPPL represents the city's roughly 9,000 police officers. The city has already lost 1,000 officers since 2019. Some of those displeasures comes as the city continues to lose more and more police officers who are frustrated with treatment by city officials. Police Commissioner Errol Southerns has called the loss of officers very, very discouraging, according to the LA Times. Sendos defended her comment in a statement to the Times, saying officers were weighing the decision to leave the city long before she entered the discussion. My comments were part of a larger online thread about officers who stated they already decided to leave the LAPD, she told the outlet. And I stand by every word I wrote to those who decided or strongly considering leaving the LAPD for another agency. Meanwhile, crime and homelessness are spiking in California's largest city. Democrat Mayor Karen Bass signed an updated declaration of a state of emergency of homelessness last week, granted her additional powers to expedite the process of building more housing, calling for the emergency service of city employees to coordinate citywide planning to respond to the homeless crisis. Bass' office did not immediately respond to requests for comment from Fox Digital. Overall, California has by far the most homeless people in any state. On a single night last year, 30% of all people experienced homelessness in the country. Of the 171,521 people were in California, according to data from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And that's homelessness. There's 2 types of people that are homeless, in my opinion. There are those that, for whatever reason, are down on their luck. They lost their job. Other things happened to them, caused them to lose their home. For instance, because of their age, they couldn't get another decent paying job to continue to pay their mortgage. They end up on the streets. And then there are those that want to be on the street. They're into drugs. They're into the sex trade. And they do not care one way or the other to be housed elsewhere. I know that because I participated in trying to help many homeless people throughout my time on this earth, especially when I was running Veterans United for Justice, where we went out and tried to help veterans that were homeless and get them into housing. And we would come across every now and then veterans and other homeless people that just didn't want help. They were happy with smoking meth or crack or whatever and living in a cardboard box. And, whether it was a mental illness that was affecting them or the drugs, they just didn't want help. And you can't force that on people because that's going to turn around and bite you. In our case, it did a few times. And finally tonight, my all-time favorite towelhead, Representative Ilhan Omar, was roasted online after she tweeted yesterday evening that the Earth broke a record for a hottest day in 120,000 years. I repeat that because I know what you're thinking. How in the hell does she know this? She tweeted that the Earth broke a record for the hottest day in 120,000 years. Omar, who used the tweet to call for a climate emergency declaration, added the record for hottest day ever was broken on 3 separate days. However, Omar's tweet was met with skepticism and tagged with the Twitter community note casting doubt on the claim. Can't imagine why that would be. What was the temperature of the globe at 12 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on July 1st? 116,539 BC. Former White House advisor Stephen Miller responded, "Is this satire?" Added Utah's Senate candidate Trent Staggs, the current mayor of Griffin, Utah. Weather record keeping began in the 1800s, and data from before that period is based on sophisticated methods of examining corpus climate clues and proxy data like tree rings and ice cores and ocean sediments, etc. 120,000 years ago takes us back to when Neanderthals were just beginning to roam the earth, who I don't think were measuring the weather. Conservative commentary Greg Price tweeted in response to Omar, "The first thermometer was invented by Galileo in 1593, and the first modern thermometer in 1714 by Gabriel Fahrenheit. She's making shit up. Okay, let's test the claim. What was the Earth's temperature on July 20th, 20,000 years ago? Or 60,000 years ago? Or 119,000 years ago? Please provide evidence to back up your answers," another commentator tweeted. "I called my friend who is 117,094 years old, and he just confirmed this is totally true," conservative blogger Kate Hyde added. If you believe that we have precise daily temperature records dating back 120,000 years, then this claim may seem credible, said Matt Walsh, a Daily Wire host. But if you're approximately smarter than a sea sponge, then you know that this is hysterical bullshit. Jeremy Redfern, a spokesman for the Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis, said the national climate emergency demanded an excuse to do a bunch of left-wing stuff. While President Biden has focused much of his presidency on combating climate change, he has yet to formally declare a national emergency like Omar would like. The climate emergency declaration would enable Biden to bypass Congress and take a number of regulatory steps not normally authorized to the White House. In July 2022, after reports the president would issue such a declaration, he opted instead to issue executive orders addressing the climate crisis, but he stopped short of an emergency declaration. Declaring a national emergency, especially for an international problem, doesn't solve a thing. Benji Backer, founder of American Conservative Coalition, said in a tweet responding to Omar, "Just look at COVID. It might do well on Twitter, but it sure isn't solving the problem." Omar, loosen it up, baby. Loosen it up. It's affecting your brain. Just loosen it a little bit. It's too freaking tight. We have no fucking clue what the temperatures were 120,000 years ago, you idiot. Just things that make you go, what? Did I hear that right? And I want to give a shout out now to Team Ducote, moderators Doc, John, Wayne, and Sherry, for your outstanding job and continued support. Each of you are great American patriots, and I appreciate you very, very much. You do an outstanding job here moderating the show, and for that, I thank you. Folks, if you haven't already done so, please go to douglasducote.com, check out the website. Also in the description of this show, once it goes up as a regular video here shortly, and all my videos and all my shows, you can see the different locations. You can follow me on social media. Follow me there. I'll do the same in return. That's how we spread conservative news. Also, please subscribe to this channel. Ring the bell. Go check me out on Rumble. I'm there, and it's going to be soon where we probably move over there permanently. We do have several other options that we're looking at right now. Sadly, the only people that have put the proper amount of money into a platform to be able to do what people like me are doing happens to be this one. And I'm looking for every opportunity I can to get away from YouTube and Google forever and ever and ever. Anyhow, got a lot of places to be tonight. Chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. Join me back here on Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Central for another live show. If anything breaks between now and then, I either put out a live show about it or put out a video about it and let you all know. Other than that, have a wonderful and blessed night. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless each and every one of you. Thank you, everybody. Good night. I'll be seeing you soon.